Well, hello, everyone. This is Regina, and we are Her Time. This is a very special episode because this time we have invited our husbands to come and join us on this episode to talk about romance. It's going to be fun, and it might, just be a little interesting for some other people to learn or to get to know, or maybe ourselves to learn about romance. So I am Regina, and this is my husband, Russ.
Hi, guys.
And my name is Daisy. And this is my husband, Rico.
That's still my name, yep.
And I'm Jeanette, and this is my husband, Babu.
Hey, everybody.
And I'm Rosie, and this is my love bug, Jose.
Hey,
So I'm going to I should have said this first. Okay. So Russ and I haven't even been married for a year. We haven't even known each other for a year. We've been married, what?
4 months.
4 months. We've been married 4 months. I know that the longest married couple is Daisy and Rico with how many years?
36.
36 years. Then the second is Rosie and Jose.
25.
Wow, you're already at 25?
We'll be 25 February 13th.
So that means I've known you 25 years.
Yep.
And then Jeanette and Papo.
22 years in March.
In March, it'll be 22, yeah.
I'm glad I got that right.
Damn, romance.
Okay, good. And so I'm sure that there's been a lot of romantic gestures between all of you. I'm sure that one of the things that keeps your marriage strong is those little romantic things, those little things that I don't know, make your heart beat faster, or you just can't help but just smile when your partner does something special for you. And so this episode is going to be about romance. I think that the Lord just loves romance because he's very romantic with us. He paints the sky every night, the sunset every night. And that to me is romantic. I think that that's one of the ways the Lord shows me his love, is when I come outside and there's the sunset, and it's just this beautiful painting of colors, and for me that's always been romance. I think that little things like when you in your mind you think, gosh, I would really love something sweet right now, and then something sweet happens, and so I just think that the Lord is very romantic, and I think that that's how he models his relationship with us, is in a marriage. And so this is the episode. And so we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go first with Jeanette and Papo. Individually, answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
What does romance look like for you personally?
I could go first.
Wow.
So,
Scoring points.
Gina, you brought something up that kind of like, it painted a picture in my mind. God is he's an artist. And when I first met my wife, I was like, wow, what a beautiful wife. What a beautiful woman. I was already thinking ahead.
What a beautiful wife. That's it.
But I always pictured...
was operating in the prophetic.
Right. So I always pictured her as a beautiful painting when I first met her. She's just everything I ever wanted. She's just a beautiful, inside and out. But just her thoughtfulness, the way she just does things for me is just, for me, it's just...
That's
romance in every way. Yeah.
I'm a simple girl. I am not a big grand gesture type of girl as far as romance. So like, to me, romance is just laughter, spontaneity, just, hey, let's get up and go for a walk. Hey, let's, like things like that is way more important to me than a big old, candlelight dinner, rose petals everywhere. I'm like, why'd you waste those rose petals? Me, I'm like, I'm not, that I'm not like that big kind of grand gesture person. I like simple. I like, you know, I don't know. I just like simple and laughter. I love to laugh with him. Like literally nobody makes me laugh as much as Papo does, and just simple, you know, so just thoughtfulness. That's romance to me.
And I feel like we complement each other just the way, just like that, just making each other laugh, being thoughtful, a simple letter to each other in the morning saying how much we love each other, praying for each other right before we start our day. To me, that's romance and thoughtfulness for both of us.
Beautiful. Jose and Rosie.
My love.
You know, you think of romance and you think the big, you know, flowers and going out to dinner, and I think I'm somewhat like Jeanette, where it's just the thoughtfulness of things. When, you know, he makes the bed, or to me that's romantic. It's just his gestures and things that he'll say or do that make me feel, you know, not only appreciated but loved. And those are things that for me, you know, are romantic. And that's what romance is to me.
So I don't know about anybody else, but like this show is freaking me out. Like the fact that I gotta do this, like I said, babe, we gotta do research. Like we have to prepare for this thing, you know. So all week I've been looking up what is romance, defining romance. What's the difference between love and romance? So love is that first, you know, emotion, and then the romance is what you do to express that love. You know, and I was like, okay, so am I really hitting the romance? You know, am I, you know, because you start, you know, second guessing yourself. You know, am I really doing this romance thing? It's 25 years. You know, so you start off with all the, you know, talks about how when you love somebody, at first you're doing romance at 100. You know what I mean? Like you're doing all the little cards, a little this, the flowers, the chocolates, just to capture them, to bring them in, right? So I did that. I captured her. It's been 25 years. So you know we've been around. We've been around the candlelight dinners.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, man. But one of the things that stood out to me was that not only is it an emotional thing, it talked about how romance actually triggers our hormones, our adrenaline, and how it actually marks us, you know. So it marks a part of our brain. It releases dopamine. It registers a memory. And I was thinking, so that's what it is. Romance is about creating those memory moments, you know, that in that time when you're apart from each other, you can go into that bank and pull out that, wow, I remember when she did this for me. You know, and one of the cool things about us is that for me, I like acts of services, you know, because it goes into the love languages, you know. So when I come home and she picks me a nice cup of coffee, I mean, that for me it means a lot, you know, to me. Her arroz con gandule, you know, it's like, man, I mean, it's like she's mastered it, you know. So little things like that for me is how she speaks into my love tank and shows me romance, you know, because it's been 25 years. So it might look a little different, you know, than what it might look like at the beginning, you know. But yeah, I was freaked out about this, and I'm glad we're finally doing this.
We'll leave it to Jose to research.
I just got the knee thing, right, Rico? I think I got to stop.
No, I told Jose, just relax. It's just chill. It's conversation. He was just, you know, prepping, which is great, right? But I mean, he was like really intense, and I'm like, relax. It's gonna be okay.
If it means anything, I looked up romance and romantic too, and there's about 6 million different definitions.
That's the other thing. Why can't a word just have one definition? Why does a word have to have so many different definitions? But yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right, Daisy and Rico.
Well, I'm going to start here because I like Jose and Russ. I looked up definitions as well. So I did some research, but it wasn't about getting a definition. It was about putting word to what I know romance is for me. So I think it was last night where I went to Rick and I said, I think I've got it, you know. But I'm going to save it for tomorrow. So these are some of the thoughts that came to mind for me in terms of romance. So romance for me, I remember a memory came back to me. When Rick and I had only been married a couple of years, he was deployed to the Middle East, right? So a lot of unknowables at that point, things that, what happens to marriage? How do we deal with marriage in this long distance space? And then, of course, the dangers that came along with that. But this is what happened. I remember one night I was here in Chicago. It's dark. I'm outside, and I saw stars in the sky, which is a rarity in this big city. But I saw stars, and all I thought was, those are the same stars that my husband is seeing or will see. And that made those thousands of miles a lot closer. They disappeared for me. So in 36 years, what I think about is wherever I am, we could just be 5 miles apart. There's someone else who prioritizes me as I prioritize him, wherever we may be. So for me, that's romance, is he's on my mind. When I'm going to do anything, I'm thinking about my husband.
I'm thinking about you right now. I'm liking what I'm thinking.
So that's
Okay.
I went the opposite with regards to research. I didn't want to research anything. I really wanted it to be, I wanted to define it, because that's kind of how I look at romance. They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Romance to me has that dynamic, that romance is in the eye of the receiver. I know there are things that my wife does that elicits or provokes certain feelings in me. At the end of the day, I want to be valued. I want to know that what I've done, who I am, has a value to it, and that value is appreciated. And also loving what I love. I love my kids. I love my grandson, and my wife does things that makes me feel valued. It makes me feel appreciated. And that provokes a certain feeling that I can't define totally, but it feels great. It feels really good. The other day, it was a sandwich. We're fasting. And it just so happened that day we had soup, and I'm talking with my oldest, with the kid, over the phone, and I'm like, you know what, we're having soup, but I'm really hungry. I'm not sure if the soup is going to be substantial enough. And she goes, you know what would go nice with that soup, Papi? A sandwich, a nice grilled cheese sandwich. So my wife is there. She's like, there's the frying pan, there's the refrigerator. You go ahead and make, there's cheese in there. You make yourself a sandwich. And I knew, yeah, I'm never going to touch the frying pan, because she's going to make that sandwich. And a couple minutes later, there was my sandwich. I never touched the fridge. I never touched the pan. That little act of, hey, is this something that he wants? Is this something that'll bless him? It did. That to me was romantic. I'll make one more point about romance, because again, I get to define it. My wife has this, I don't know what to call it, but a sense of pride of, I'm going to take care of my husband. I'm going to take care of my kids, and now my grandson. I'm going to do it in a way that no one else can do it. And when they're sick, they come to me. They need advice, they come to me. He needs something, I take care of it. That to me is really romantic. I love the security of that. You walk around with a certain sense of safety, knowing part of our romance is that she's going to take care of her family, and certainly take care of me, which she does.
Amen.
Russ?
Okay. So I've always been a hopeful romantic, instead of hopeless. And romance is kind of what I've always done. I have two love languages. My giving love language is acts of service, and always has been. And my receiving is quality time. And so service, romance to me is doing things for your partner just because you love them. There's no expectation of any return. It's just doing things that make them feel good, that help them, like the grilled cheese sandwich. That is a perfect example of romance, because she wasn't expecting anything from that. She just did it because she loves you. And the important part of that, I think, is the why. And we have to really be careful as individuals as to why we're doing things. Are we doing this gesture because we want them to ooh and ah and say, oh my gosh, you're such an amazing person? Are we doing it because we love them? And that's actually been one of the hardest things for me to learn in my half-century journey on this planet, is not to expect things. You can hope, but don't expect them to get all gaga because you did something for them. Oh, I swept the floor. Well, you never noticed. It's not why you did it. You did it because it needed to be done, and you love your partner. So that's what romance is to me. It's just the simple things that you do every day to make them feel loved for no other reason but you love them.
Amen.
Amen. Preach it.
Love it.
I'm more like Rico. I didn't research. I'm not trying to research. Because in my heart, I know individually what I see as romantic. Like, I started out with the Lord showing romantic gestures, and it's just, I feel romance is when you find that one thing, or find that thing that will bring a smile to or lift your partner's heart, like the one thing, like Rosie making coffee. Rosie can make coffee for anyone, and that to me is like lifting anybody's heart, like so yes, something that will just lift that person's heart for the day, or give them a smile, or like walking into the bedroom like Rosie said and seeing the bed made, or a foot massage, or things like that, where it's not leading to anything, but it's done because it's purely out of your heart, and you want to do it, and you want to make that person smile. They love it, like a grilled cheese sandwich. That's what will lift their hearts, like fresh baked cookies or a cake, those things that you do well, and that your partner loves. Do it. So I feel like there's so many ways, like you said, 6,000 definitions of romance, but as long as you and your partner are on the same page and have the same definition of romance, that's the important part. So
Can I say something?
definitely.
Or am I going to get in trouble? Can I say something?
Regina said it's okay.
Oh, Regina said it's okay. But there was a word that you said there. I'm not contradicting anything anyone said, but romance also has a flexibility to it. Go back to the 6 million or the 6,000 definitions. What that proves is there's a lot of leeway there to define it. And I think you said something about leading into something, because sometimes you can switch it, and it's okay for that act to lead to something else. It's okay for that intentionality to do the math. Like, I'm going to do this for her because I know it's going to lead to something else. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes there's an intentionality to it. That's why the flexibility of romance. Sometimes, like, I know what he's doing here. I know why he's doing this. There is an intentionality to it. And sometimes, we're now 36 years. That's a part of it too. It's not tricky. It's like, I know what this is leading up to. It's still romantic, but this time this is leading up to something.
Well, it sets the stage.
It sets the stage,
Yeah, it sets the stage. one of the thoughts I had as I'm hearing everybody speak is that a romantic gesture really it can interrupt a bad moment or a bad day. So in the morning, you know, the making of the bed, I don't know why this is a big thing, but it's a big thing to me. It's like, oh my gosh, he made the bed. I love that when I come back into the room. But if it's not been a good start to a day, and then I walk into my room and the bed is made, it stops me. It's like, you know what? There is a good. So the romantic gesture interrupted my bad moment or my bad start to a day. So,
You know, I just thought of something when earlier in our marriage, I don't know how long ago it was, but I remember saying to him one day, like, you know, babe, I'm really not like a flowers kind of girl. Like, they're beautiful, but like, you know, they die in 5 days. Who cares? You know, like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm weird. But
He's there with a big old bouquet. He's like,
Behind my back.
But I love you.
no, so I had told him that early on. And this one day I was out shopping somewhere, and they had a whole section of flowers, right? And I started looking at the flowers and I'm smelling them and whatever, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, I'd like some flowers, but I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything at all. And like that night he brought me flowers and I was like, what? Oh my gosh. So somehow, I don't know, I think romance, not that you have to be like, you know,
Yeah, it's
what
just
do you
being
call it?
aware,
But just
you know, and
somehow
yeah,
like
it's like a
you're in
connection.
tune. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're connected. And
Mhm.
and that he just did that out of the blue. It wasn't like Valentine's Day or anything like that. It was just, and since then he has brought me flowers for other occasions, and each time I've appreciated it. It's just something that I'm like, oh, I don't really need them. But then he was like, but I want to give them to you, you know? And so like when he gave them to me, I was like, oh my gosh, well, thank you. And to me, they were like the most beautiful flowers ever, you know, because it was like a, excuse me, it was like just this connection thing.
Mhm.
So,
And Daisy, I don't know if it was you or one of the other young ladies that said it's like a surprise, like bringing some flowers or being like romance is like an interruption to your day.
mhm.
I wanted to bring up an example. Just a couple weeks ago, a little bit more than a couple weeks ago, we were planning on a trip to go to Gatlinburg, and I'm working in the basement. I work from home, and in my mind, I'm like, Lord, I have to get all these things ready. I have to pack. We have to do all this stuff. And when I come upstairs, everything was done. Everything was taken care of.
Mm.
And I looked at my wife. I said, babe, you just took off a load from my back. All the stress I had, baby, you just took it off. Thank you so much. And to me, that was romantic. You know, it's like, man, thank you, babe. You were so thoughtful. And now, like, my body, my whole stress was gone.
Mhm.
She was so thoughtful and, you know, put a lot of effort in it. So to me, that's acts of service is an act of love for me too, and romance.
So yeah, I guess you would say that romance ties into our love languages, definitely, right? Because if someone's giving you gifts all the time and that's just not your love language, it's
Yeah.
probably not going to be as appreciated as a great back rub, you know? So I guess it is being in tune with, you know, your spouse and knowing what they love and why they love it. Like, um, I'm going to go into the next question. The next question is, what's the most recent act of romance that your spouse has done for you? And well, this